Welcome Amakhosi Network, welcome to the channel. Today I decided that we're getting closer to the transfer window with players, because there's a debate I've often had. I don't think there's enough quality players for Kaizer Chiefs to really improve the way we expect them to prove in the PSL. But I decided to go look at each team and identify players that I think would actually benefit Chiefs. But before I get into that, please like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe. So now that I've done this, I have found a few players that Kaizer Chiefs could use. Some players I'm even going to argue why I'm not sure about. But remember, this is not our list. This is my list. So if you don't like my list, tell me what you don't like about my list and tell me what you would do differently. So let me start with Sundowns. If I had to look at Sundowns, and I'm going to start by adding a disclaimer. There are some teams like Amakhosi and Marumo that have players that I'm not going to even talk about because I don't think they're worth mentioning for Kaizer Chiefs, because I don't think they're worth adding to the squad. But let's get to it. Sundowns. With Sundowns, I identified 2 players, but you could even say possibly 3 players. Not you could say, you can say, because one of the other players is a player on loan. The first player is Riyad Peterson. I think Riyad Peterson was once a Kaizer Chiefs goalkeeper. I think we should re-sign Riyad Peterson and get him from Sundowns. Sundowns doesn't use Riyad Peterson enough. They have Ronwen Williams, they play Dennis Onyango, and then they play Jody February. Now, a lot of you are going to ask, what are we going to do with Riyad Peterson? I'm like, I would rather have Riyad Peterson be a second or third choice in my team than any of the players, of the goalkeepers that I currently have at Kaizer Chiefs. The current goalkeepers I have at Kaizer Chiefs, I don't even want to see. And I'm saying this when I saw Peterson. I think Peterson was a good keeper for me when he was at Ajax. Even before Wits, I didn't like what he was doing at Wits. But when he got that bad injury that he got, I don't think he became the same keeper. But anyway, that's who I'd sign. The next one is Neo Maema. If he gets out of contract, I would sign him. If we see that he's not signing his contract, I would try speak to his agent and sign him, because he's not being used as much, and I think he still has a lot to contribute. Let's move to the next team, SuperSport United. With Pirates, I chose not to add Pirates in this list because Pirates has players that are almost unbuyable, right? Abo Relay and stuff like that. So there's no point to mentioning them. And then the players that kind of have potential and are not being used are players who are injured. And I'm not going to entertain the Lipasa talk, because Lipasa has injury problems. So like Radio Pioneer has injury problems, Lipasa. So those are people I'm not going to even entertain. SuperSport, the left back Rapo. And there's a boy I've been seeing, Bezedinot. He used to be Chandra Campbell's partner in crime. He has a lot of goals in him, but he's a project. So a lot of Chiefs fans will be like, we're not in the business for projects. We want someone who's going to do the business now. The other player that people would want to mention is Magaman. But Magaman is coming from a very bad injury, an ACL if I'm not mistaken. And the thing about ACL injuries is that the players who come from ACL injuries either take time to get back to their original self, but they will never be 100% the player you're used to. I don't know, this ACL injury is just a terrible injury to have early in your career. The next one is Arrows. Arrows, I would do a swap deal. I would swap Rangachi Vavero with Knox Mutizwa. There's no benefit in that deal. Like, we don't really gain much, but they're almost basically the same age. And yeah, I think it's like for like. They get that striker, we get Knox Mutizwa. I think it would work for either party, because Ranga can still do things for Arrows, and I think Knox Mutizwa is a good maybe third choice keeper to have for Kaizer Chiefs, because Knox knows how to get goals. Then AmaZulu. AmaZulu actually has quite a few players. The first one, I'm going to start with the keeper. The keeper is one of those players who is also a project, Zimela. He's a project. A lot of you don't want projects, but I'm just mentioning him here. The next one is also a project, Rowan Human. Human is a project. Why do I call Rowan Human a project? Because ever since he has come back from Africa to South Africa from Israel, he hasn't really kicked off. From Maritzburg, from AmaZulu, he hasn't kicked off. So the player we saw at Wits University, we haven't seen that kind of player again. But what I like about him is that he has a high work rate, he has intelligence, so I think a coach like Nabi could get the best out of him. But yeah, the next one is where I was saying it's linked to Sundowns. Igodaro. Sundowns has been rejecting this guy for the first team for I don't know how many seasons. And he does well everywhere he goes. The University of Pretoria, I believe he also went to Chipa, and now he's at AmaZulu. I think if we just buy him outright, he would be a good striker to have. If we don't get like a Knox Mutiz or whatever. And he's a big boy and he knows how to header. You know, he has attributes of a very good striker. So I would actually add him. He's a very good straight. Imagine with the amount of chances he will get a cheese, how many goals he'll score. So for me, he would be a number one target in terms of strikers. Because yes, we will look for other strikers elsewhere, top quality strikers, maybe outside of Africa. But if we struggle, he would be the one I'd go to Sundowns and say, hey, I'm buying him straight. I'm not loaning him, I'm buying him. And then the next player for AmaZulu is Hanamub. I'd also consider Hanamub. Hanamub is almost getting a South African citizenship. Same with Knox Mutizwa as well in that conversation. But I'd buy Hanamub just because I want surety at left back. I just need a left back that can defend. I'm not asking for much. Yes, I'm not asking for much. And then Stellies. When it comes to Stellies, a lot of us are going to fight because I have opinions on certain players and you guys will have opinions on certain players. So the first player that is almost impossible to sign, but it's worth the fight, is Jaden Adams. We need to fight for that boy, Jaden Adams, to get him, and Devon Titus. Our right wing is very bad. Having Duba there is not good. Duba is not a right wing, and I think Devon Titus would do a better job. And then a lot of you would say, and Basadine. And for me, I like Basadine, but I am not sure about Basadine. And a lot of you are going to be like, ball. And I'm just going to put it to you guys this way. You know Basadine, before he arrived at Stellies, I didn't like him as a player. I didn't like what he had to offer. I just didn't see what the hype was about. Then he got to Stellies. And the one thing I hate about Stellies, I love it for them, but I also hate, is that you need to be careful how you evaluate a player from Stellies, especially if you're going to sign that player. Because a Stellies player may be good at Stellies, but may not be good with you. If your structure and your team is not good, a Stellies player will be bad. Why am I saying this? Mtetwa came from a very bad team, a Black Leopards, no one knew him, he became a star. Basadine came from Morocco Swallows, etc. A lot of people didn't know him, got to Stellies, became a star. Stellies converts average players and can even make them stars. But some players, or maybe they just needed good coaching, we don't know what it is, or good technical team, good analysis, which is what I think Stellenbosch have. Stellenbosch just has a very good technical team and good structures around them. So that's my take on Stellenbosch. Would I say no to Basadine? I won't, but I'm a bit worried about Basadine. That's just my point, especially if now the Chiefs is building. I feel like it will be tough. Anyway, Cape Town City, Jaden Rhodes, same story. We don't have a right wing. Who will be a good right wing? Jody Ashin, we need a young quality striker coming through. I think Jody Ashin has that potential. TS Galaxy, I couldn't find much about except for Sbelebele. And he's also like a right wing. The things that I don't know if is, TS Galaxy plays on counters, and you've seen the problem at Chiefs is that we are facing a lot of teams that sit at the back. So I don't know if Sbelebele will cope without space to run, because that's where his game shines. Sbelebele, I think if Stellenbosch is smart, they'll sign Sbelebele, because I think he would actually do well at that team. The next one is Kukune. There weren't much players there. There's Jamie Weber that we can consider. But Jamie Weber is like a poor man's Jaden Adams. So he's definitely not Jaden Adams, but he has something. I just don't think he's a player to the level of Kaizer Chiefs, in my honest opinion. But that's just me. You know, some people can prove you wrong. Richards Bay, I've been very clear from the start. Yanalem Butuma, this boy is going to be a good striker for the PSL. And yeah, I think he has a bright future. Chippa United, it can only be Nwabali, but I don't like foreign keepers, but that's just me. I don't see the reason for us to have a foreign keeper. I just don't believe a foreign spot should be wasted on a keeper. But that's just me. Polokwane City is simple. Matuludi and also Napolis. A lot of you will be like, what about Unkwe? Unkwe ugupi. Hi, lo muntu ngasela akazibola. But I'm going to say this. Mina, guys, I'll be honest. I didn't even know Unkwe until this past game. I was watching Polokwane City's other games. He didn't stand out to me. It was always Matuludi and also Napolis who stood out to me. Unkwe, for me, personally didn't stand out to me. So I can't really give an opinion on someone who didn't really show up in my mind. Like, I didn't really spot him from the crowd. He plays good team football, but I just can't see him. Like, I couldn't see him alone, if that makes sense. So, you know, sometimes when you play against teams that are well-structured, some people will look like they are very good, but they're playing in a well-structured team. So the team everyone is looking good on the team. But that's all I have for today. You guys tell me what you think. Amakhosi.